and all that because that's just how we roll. Okay, I guess we're live. So tonight I am discussing bagger shit with Frankie Garcia, good friend of mine from a long time ago. What is up, Frankie?
Oh, not much. Just happy to be back from Atlanta and made it back to California and got a little bit of time before our next round of Road America. We obviously don't go to Barber with the rest of the Moto America crew on the baggers, so
Yeah?
it gives us a little bit of time to catch up. And obviously, these baggers they're a ton of work, so it's a good thing that we have all this time in between races because I mean, there's engines and all kinds of stuff that come along with it. The bike's got to be rebuilt. Fortunately and unfortunately for our team, we have four motorcycles on our team, so it's a lot. It's a lot. We're the only bagger team with four riders, so it's but yeah, it's good to be home and happy to be here.
Right on, man. I'm just gonna say it. Because of you, I'm watching baggers now. You son of a bitch.
Good. That's what we're here for.
I
That's
mean,
what we're
you know
here for.
what? Like the top guys, several of them were doing times that were basically the super sport class times, right?
Dude, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing right
It's
now is like
insane.
the pace is so fast. It's incredible. I mean, I was going through Jake and I, my dad and Jake Lewis and I were driving to the hotel on Saturday night, and we were kind of looking at lap times and going over stuff a little bit, Jake and I, and I'm going through the list of the riders in the race, and I'm the only one. I was the only one in the race that hasn't raced a superbike. So that just goes to show, like,
Yeah.
they're bad dudes. Like they're
Yeah.
all ex current superbike racers, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent in that class. It's no joke. It started off as this fun, build a bike in your garage, and now it's turned into this, which I'm not. I'm stoked because I like racing and I like to watch things evolve, and I like to see all the technology and everything that's gone into these bikes.
Yeah.
And it's been cool to watch it from being there from the very beginning to where it's at now and to continue watching it evolve.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does kind of hurt seeing it go from what it started out as to what it is now.
From like
Equally,
grassroots level to like spectacle.
yeah, like I mean, the Eric Stalls and the all the OG dudes, and
Yeah.
seeing these guys that built these bikes in their garage and just built these like performance baggers. We're beyond that now. So as cool as it is to see where it's come, it's still a bummer that there hasn't been a cap put on it to like kind of keep it there.
Yeah.
And now it's a
It
factory.
it's like a
It's a
nuclear arms race almost, right?
That's
Harley,
pretty
it's
much
like
what
a
it is.
classic Harley versus Indian rivalry that's been going on for 100 years, right?
Yeah, which is really cool to be a part of that. Like,
Yeah.
and to be on both sides of the fence of that. It's it's been really cool to see that rivalry is like it's funny because you could see it like, and especially this weekend, Harley, the factory Harley team and the factory Indian team were like almost facing each other
Oh, dude.
in
Yeah.
the pits. So
But
it's
it made it
it's
great to watch. I mean, the like you're in the, well, actually you got to watch the race this weekend too. But I'm sorry, emotional damage. My bad.
yeah, yeah. I'm
But
crying now.
I mean, watching those guys scrap. I mean, holy shit! I was like, okay, you watching O'Hara going full lock sideways, passing dudes on the inside. Like,
How
what,
cool is
dude?
that? How
Like
cool is
how?
that?
Like how is that even possible to do that?
The biggest slide job somebody did this weekend was in the bagger class. It's pretty incredible. I mean, these bikes are so good now, though. It's unbelievable how far they've come and how insane they are to ride. I think Kyle's times that he was doing in the bagger race would have put him like eighth in the super stock 1,000 race. That's insane. Like a super stock 1,000, that's a limited super bike.
Yeah,
And we got baggers going not far off the top pace in that. It's nuts.
yeah. I mean, I was just looking at the super sport class, right? Which are like, kind of built 600s and 750s and that 1,000 Ducati thing or whatever. And those bikes, they make what, 140 something horsepower or whatever,
Something in there, yeah.
150, right? And then they only weigh like maybe under 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing it with, I don't know, probably about the same horsepower, right? Or maybe a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are doing
Uh,
horsepower wise.
More. We're up there.
Oh, you guys
We're
are
up
making
there.
more than 150 on those things?
There's a
Jesus.
lot of power in there.
But
Yeah, we
you're
got some
also
power.
doing it with 600 and something pounds too, right?
And like not the best aero package. I mean, we do
Oh,
have bags.
well, actually, you guys have a great aero package, right? You guys had that fairing. You guys
I mean, it's
in
good
the
for the
fairing.
rider. It's good for the rider, but we're punching a big hole, that's for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely, absolutely. But you guys are weighing that much, and obviously you have more power. But god damn, dude, like to do those lap times that the super sport guys are a lot of them can't even do it, right? The back markers, you guys probably would be. You guys would probably the front guys would probably be into the top 7, probably, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the front guys are going. Like Kyle this weekend was on another level. I mean, he was
Oh, dude,
almost a
on
second
another
faster than
planet.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's just got that Harley Davidson dialed, and
yeah,
he's just. I don't know if he's like cuckoo in the head or if he's just that good, maybe a little bit of both. Because I mean, even talking to like my teammates Jake and Corey, who are both like race super bikes and have done it all, and like
yeah,
Corey West is a legend, and Jake rode a super bike, raced a super bike recently, and for those guys to be like, yeah, I don't want to go that fast. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's nuts.
But I mean, you look at Fonger ripping, right? And then,
Mhm.
you look at Tyler ripping, and
Mhm.
then obviously both of the Wyman brothers kind of
Yep.
ripping. I mean, it's like,
Yep.
god damn, dude, like how it's so impressive to watch. I mean, I know I get like I'm on with Richard tomorrow, and so I'm sure I'm going to hear about this. But I mean, dude, like it was exciting to watch. I mean,
Guess what?
super sport class was exciting, as was super bike and the other classes. But dude, like you guys, usually you guys aren't this exciting to me to watch. Like,
There's a lot going on. I mean, I mean, Kyle pretty much had it wrapped up from start to finish in both races,
yeah,
but in second place to fourth place, it was Tyler, Bobby, Hayden, and Rispoli.
yeah,
Those guys were getting after it. I mean, they were not messing around. Unfortunately for me, I was able to watch both races, but I mean, it was crazy. I said to you before the show, as much as I like being out there and racing, I wish there were two of me because I want to go race the bike, but I also want to watch because baggers are insane.
yeah,
And you know, uh, but yeah, that race from second, third, fourth, and fifth was out of control. Those guys are pushing. It's no joke. I mean, it's a sprint race on 620-pound motorcycles. It's nuts.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's getting more and more exciting. Are they going to give you guys? Are they eventually going to build more laps into that class?
I don't.
Or are the
I don't.
bikes just too crazy? They're not going to live more than that. I mean,
I mean, you see how many bikes are finishing. I mean, we start the weekend with 20 bikes and or close to 18 to 20 bikes, and by the end of the race, there's 10 bikes that finish.
yeah,
So it's tough. I mean, these things are built to the tilt. They're as fast as you can make them. It's as good as they're going to get, and they're built so they're so high performance, and they're built just to the edge that any more than that, I mean, we're going to be breaking more bikes. So we did good this weekend though. Nobody oiled the track, not even
I
once.
I, I was going to say that.
Yeah,
I don't recall seeing the what did we call that at Daytona? The bagger pace car, right?
yeah,
I didn't
yep.
see
We
the
didn't see
bagger
that.
pace car this time. So fucking
Yep.
right on,
So just
guys. Like,
hey, what did I say? We're gonna earn Stamboli's love one race at a time.
oh my god, here we go. I mean, look, you've definitely drawn me in, and it's totally not my thing. I don't want to ride one. They look
Yeah,
way
you
too.
do.
You
Yeah,
think
you do.
so?
Yeah, you do.
They don't. Yamaha doesn't make one though, dude. Like,
Hey, you just ride a
no,
Harley Davidson.
I can't be doing that.
You just
But
ride with
good
the
on
best.
you for doing it. Better you than me. But you've sucked me in as a fan. I mean, it's pretty exciting to watch. I will say this, like I give so much of a shit about this is that I'm 40 miles away from the house on Friday, and I'm periodically checking the times, the
While
live
you're
timing.
on your bicycle.
Yes, and I'm texting you like, Frankie, what's going on, man? Like you're a little bit out. Oh, cool, you gained 2 seconds, but like, what's going on? So, like, you've made me give a shit about this, and I hate you for it.
Yeah, you went from being full blown sport bike, super bike dude to, I mean, you were even a sponsor of the, Attack Superbike team, and now you're a bagger fan.
I'm a
It's
fan.
cool.
The TrackDaz logo is still on the side of the Superbikes. I'm still a
Yeah, yeah,
Superbike fan.
yeah. We'll get one on the bagger one day.
That's not
You
happening.
know.
But, uh, but hey, man, it's exciting to watch. And our last show together, you definitely you're a pretty great ambassador for this as well. I mean, say what you will, you're Frankie, right? Like you're always gonna be Frankie to me. Like you're gonna be the guy that I call. And what we're doing right now is like our normal phone
This is
conversation,
a phone
right?
conversation. Yeah,
But you know, you actually sucked in a bunch more people after our last show that there were like
that's good.
anti-bagger
Glad to hear
people,
that.
and I mean I forwarded you some of the messages,
Yeah,
right?
I got a couple messages of a couple
Yeah,
people that were just like, man, I wasn't a fan, but after hearing you and your story, and
yeah,
it's cool and it's relatable, and I mean, that's all I want. I want this bagger thing. It's provided a second opportunity in racing for me, but as
yeah,
well as the rest of us.
yeah.
Um, especially all of us. We're all like the same age. Bobby, the Wyman brothers, Tyler, Jeremy's twice our age. Um, but
Jeremy's
you
older
know,
than me, dude.
yeah, Hayden, and Rispoli, and now guys like Max Flinders, Hawk Rosada's back on our race bike, and
Dude, I'm gonna talk to him pretty soon too, man.
yeah, so it's
Yeah,
it's provided like a second opportunity in our career, and what's cool about that is like we all got shafted in some way, shape, or form in 2008 when the economy took a
yeah,
big hit, and like a lot of us that were on that path, like I mean that kind of was a big hurdle. Like, I thought I was going to be a motorcycle racer, and that happened. And the next thing you know, I'm taking college classes and I have a regular job, and kind of, changed my life path a little bit there. So
yeah.
I did never ever expected that in my 30s I would have factory supported rides in the North American Superbike Championship. That I never. If you would have
Yeah.
told me that 4 years ago, I would have laughed at you and been like, "Yeah, you know, you're out of your mind." So it's cool. Like I'm really grateful for it, and I'm glad that like we can provide some sort of fun and you know give a good show to everybody in our North American Championship.
So tell me about leading up to Road Atlanta. I mean, I know that you went to Coda and you did Coda things. I don't
Yep.
believe you were riding that weekend or anything, but uh,
No.
and then I think you had a test at Chuckwalla or something.
We had a 2-day test at Chuckwalla. Um, Mostly, I would call it. I wouldn't really call it a test. I would call it a finally getting familiarized with our motorcycles, with our race bikes, because we showed up to Daytona, and we didn't. We had a half a day maybe at Roebling, and we did like Patricia and I didn't even ride our baggers
Oh, really?
until we got to actual Daytona. First session,
Oh, shit.
and so yeah, everything just was kind of got put together. I mean, there's a lot of work that happened. 7 weeks before Daytona, we had stock bikes, and they had to build 4 race bikes in basically about 6 weeks, and they were waiting on parts up until the last minute. Our semi truck didn't exist, and 3 weeks before Daytona, and there was a lot of moving pieces. It's
Wow.
pretty. I'm actually really impressed that what Saddlemen did and everybody over there. I mean, they did the impossible and got everything ready, and come to that first session in Daytona, we had bikes ready to get on track. So
So you
um,
said they didn't even have a semi until 3 weeks before? Like,
yeah, yeah.
didn't they have one last year, or were they going out of a
No,
fifth wheel pickup truck or?
they had a motorhome and a trailer last year and a
Oh,
sprinter
okay.
van, and but with 4 bikes this year, there's so much equipment and all that. Dave at Saddlemen found a semi truck that belonged to Kenny Schrader, a NASCAR driver, and that was for sale, and that's our rig now. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, that didn't exist like 3 weeks before Daytona. It still had to get
Wrapped.
things had to get fixed. It had to get wrapped. It had to get set up for motorcycles because it was a car trailer.
Yeah.
And they made it all happen. Sean and Aaron Guardado from SMCO, their dad has like a heavy equipment like repair shop, and it sat over there, and that's where it gets stored when it's in California. And they dialed that thing in, and off to Daytona we went. I mean, that truck left. We were at the test.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, we were at the test in Roebling, and the truck didn't even make it the first day. I mean, that's how late it left. It didn't even make it to the test. So we only got to test one day on 2 of the bikes, 2 of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why that Chuck Wallen 2 days out there was so important, because we were finally able
to roll the thing through the gears and flick it side to side a couple times.
Yeah, on a track that we all know. You know, obviously Daytona's a little bit of a different track.
Right.
But Chuck Wallen, we all know and love that place, and we've spun a million laps around there. So it was nice to take the bike somewhere where you know the grip levels, you know what tires work, you know the lines, you know everything. So it was good for us to get familiar with our bikes, and we learned a lot. You know, we were going fast. I mean, I think I got into the 52s there, and Jake and Corey did like high 50s, a couple of them, and we were moving. It was no joke.
And that was like at a public track day, right? That wasn't like a private.
Yeah,
rental?
it was an open track day. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a ton of people there, but yeah, we got enough time in. We got a ton of time in. I think all of us went through a couple sets of tires per day, and we got the job done and learned a lot and found some settings and found what works better and ergonomics and just a lot of little things, a lot of baseline stuff. So that was good for us. And then from there I took a day off and went to the river in Parker and came back, and 2 days later I was on a plane to MotoGP in Austin.
Oh,
no,
Austin.
I went to Austin. I went to Austin first. Spent some time out there. We had to go see the American Racing Boys, and
of course,
had to go.
You gotta go shake hands and kiss babies.
Yeah, I had to go see my boy Jack Miller and go see Fabio and make sure they're just keeping it straight and not getting out of hand, and but it was a good time. I haven't missed a MotoGP race in Austin ever. I've been to every single one of them, and I wasn't about to start missing them now. So it's always a good time.
I've got a Karen and Jimmy story popped up on the comments right now.
Uh-oh.
So Karen says that they happened to meet up at a bike night at a Harley dealership in Loma Linda. And Frankie kept pulling beers out of his skinny jeans. And Jimmy asked, in shock, how did you fit all those in there?
They were in my pockets. I had them in my pockets. I did meet him. Actually, that same Harley Davidson dealership, I just picked up a Harley Davidson Road Glide, my personal bike from there, just last week before I left for Coda. So
you got a proper Road Glide street bike now.
Yep, 2023 Road Glide ST.
Well, you did not have that the last time we talked, did you?
No, I've only had it for 2 weeks. I rode it for the second time last night. It's got a whole 20 miles on it, maybe 19. So
I'm sure I'll get to see it at our little secret spot in Monterey.
Yes, you will see it at the secret sushi spot in Monterey that we're not telling anybody about.
Except some people did. Your teammates somehow figured it out. I don't know.
That was before they were my teammates.
I know.
So I don't know.
We're like, how the hell did you guys,
Yeah, we got to talk to them. Maybe sit them down, have them swear to secrecy and not to tell anybody about our spot.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They know where the good shit is.
They know where it's at.
Right.
Patricia gets it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So you do the test. You go hang out at Coda. You eat barbecue and breakfast tacos for 3 days or whatever.
Yeah. I had barbecue. Actually, funny story. Barry Wise from Storage Wars, him and I are pretty good buddies. And he got me so good. He stayed at the same hotel as me. And we walk in. I walk in. I see him at the bar after the race. And he goes, hey, man, we're going to go get dinner at 6:30. you want to come? I was like, yeah. He's like, we're gonna get a barbecue. I'm like, oh heck yeah, haven't had barbecue since I've been here. So he's like, all right, meet down here at 6:30. We're gonna come 6:30. Meet him in the lobby, and we hop in the car, and it's me, him, one of his buddies who I'd met before and actually had dinner with before in Los Angeles, and another one of his buddies, and we hop in this van, and we're going to dinner, and we've been in the van driving for 30 minutes. I'm like, hey, where are we going? And he's like, it's just this place down here. It's just over here.
Shut up.
Da da da. He's like, it's the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. It's the oldest barbecue joints in Texas. 45 minutes later, we finally get to this town. I forget the name of it, but there's the oldest barbecue place in Texas called Black's, and
Oh, no shit.
it's family owned,
Okay.
and I guess the brothers that owned it got in some dispute, so one of the brothers split and started Terry Black's a quarter mile down the road.
Okay.
But in between there's another barbecue joint that's just this really old historical barbecue place in Texas. So what we did was, and Barry had this idea, and he just does it. He doesn't tell anybody what's happening. And we went and got barbecue from every spot, and then went and had a barbecue shootout, and stuffed our faces and had meat sweats for the next 72 hours.
Yeah. Actually, that sounds amazing.
It was. I wasn't mad. I was not mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we got all the same meats from every single place, and then went and tried them all, and different, the different sauces and the different sides, and we really outdid ourselves on that one. But yeah, good times in Texas. But yeah.
That sounds amazing. Like when I was there, I haven't been there since 2019, but when I was there, we did dinner with the Mithos guys, right? So it was like
Mm-hmm.
Bruno, it was out, and Cito Pons and those guys, and
Mm-hmm.
then I can't remember the dude's name from Galfer, the little Italian dude.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know his
Yeah,
name.
so the Galfer dude was like,
Good dude.
"Hey, there's this gelato place." So next thing you know, we're in a fucking Uber, and we're like half an hour out of the way, and it's like a food truck thing, and this little Italian woman, like her and her husband, like made the gelato
Oh
themselves,
wow.
and it was the best. Like I followed them on Instagram. I still follow them. I'm like, dude, what are they having now?
So you knew that I was there and didn't tell me, probably for my own good, but still a little disappointed in
I
me.
was helping you, man. I was helping
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
yeah,
I'm going down the straights in the draft,
yeah, yeah,
I'll remember that. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Of
Appreciate you.
course. Oh, you'll remember it next time I take you on a bicycle ride in that area where you live. So
Yeah.
that's coming. That's
Yeah.
coming this year, man. Because we have a track
Yeah.
day. We have a track day at Laguna on the 18th of July, right after Arma.
Uh-huh. Oh, nice.
So I mean, I'm thinking that Monday, right?
He just hit
It's
it.
on, dude.
Bike
It's on.
Monterey
We're
Bike
gonna do
Path.
like 75 miles.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I want to ride your track day, not lay on the ground the entire time crying.
Oh, shut your mouth, dude. It'll be easy.
Yeah, you like to go over the grade over yeah, I
That
don't want
grade
all
is
that.
short.
It's steep.
It's not that steep.
The Lorelis grade is steep.
Whatever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't wait.
So, yeah, anyway. Okay, so the beginning of Road Atlanta, you did something pretty unique, man. I saw Moto America posted some photos of a few riders interacting with a group of fifth graders. Like a
Mm-hmm.
like a fifth grade class took a field trip to Moto America, Road Atlanta.
Fifth grade class from Martin Technology Academy,
Okay.
nearby school. They were doing a digital production assignment, and
Okay.
they had their iPads, and there was groups of kids at different tables, and they were interviewing Moto America riders,
Wow.
and then filming it on the
These are
iPad.
fifth graders, right?
Their fifth graders today are different than fifth graders from
Dude,
my time.
like what were you doing in fifth grade?
Picking my nose and like just wondering when recess was.
Right, like at recess, rolling up wads of paper towels and throwing them on the ceiling of the
Yeah,
bathroom.
the
Oh wait,
bathroom. Yeah, you know.
yeah,
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 yeah.
you get it. Yeah, man, these kids were extraordinary kids. They're so smart. It was not what I expected. Paul Carruthers asked me if I'd be a part of it. I said, of course. And I got there and I sat down at the table with these two girls and they had prepared a series of questions for me and man, it was almost better than some of the media we have at the races. They
Wow.
had these thought out questions and they weren't playing around and they
Because
filmed
they're
it and
actually smart and
yeah, yeah. But it was cool. It was cool to see them and it was cool because they appreciated, when I was a kid we went to like, oh, we're going on a trip to the aquarium and oh,
yeah,
we're gonna go to the farm and learn about agriculture, but
yeah,
these kids got to do something a little bit different. That was cool. At least if I was in fifth grade, I would think that going to the motorcycle races was cool,
yeah.
but they really appreciated that. And they had all these questions. So like they prepared questions at school, but then after, they got through their interviews, they were asking like, well, how fast are you guys going out there? And we saw you guys putting your like knees on the ground. What's that all about? And they were really intrigued by it. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And obviously, the future. We see where
Yeah.
our government and economy is these days, and we got to do everything we can to help the future kind of
I
sort us
mean,
out. Because
you saying that about them, it kind of brings a new faith in what's going on, right? Because
yes,
all you hear about all the time is like nonsense and being taught to kids, and these kids sound
mm-hmm,
like they're pretty switched on,
yeah.
and to have you as the guy, like we
What are you
talked
trying to
about
say?
we talked about this offline, right? Like, I mean, I can remember, like you said, stupid stuff. Like, our field trips were like, oh, let's go check out the Golden Gate Bridge,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
rad.
Right? And then, obviously the speakers that would come talk to us were like, the whole Mothers Against Drunk Driving thing. So we had to do the whole dare thing, right? Remember
Mm-hmm.
dare?
Yep, remember all that? Yep.
And then, then the don't, don't do drugs because you might get AIDS like this guy.
Yeah, it's just all the
So,
standard stuff they teach you. So
so
it's
the fact
cool.
that these kids are coming out and talking to motorbike racers like
It,
yourself, I mean, you're
yeah, it's really
such,
cool.
like I said at the beginning of this show, is like you're such a great ambassador. I could only imagine the thoughts that were percolating in these kids' minds after having you talk to them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
No,
love
it's
it. I think it's great that you did get to talk to them. So, like,
yeah.
what
I
kind
mean,
of
I
questions
appreciate.
I know you wrote some notes about what they were saying. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
what did they ask you specifically?
they were there because I said they were doing like a digital production
Yeah,
interviews. So they asked standard questions. What's it like? How fast do the bikes go? How
yeah,
long you've been racing? But then they asked stuff like, you know, what kind of emotions do you go throughout your day on a race day? And I was like, when I got asked that, that was probably the most in-depth question I think I've ever been asked in any interview in my life. And and then I explained it to him. I was like, I start the day. Obviously, I'm excited. I'm at the motorcycle races. This is my job. I get to race motorcycles. It's cool. But then the nerves start coming on, and then I get quiet, and then I start thinking about stuff and what ifs, and then you're a little bit scared, but you're excited to race at the same time,
yeah,
and then after the race, you're relieved and you're pumped, and there's emotions that regardless of first or you're safe and you're going home to your family and then they wanted to elaborate on that. They're like, well, why do you get nervous? And I'm like, well, what we do is a little bit
yeah.
dangerous,
Because I could fucking die.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like you're trying to explain that to them without using those words and
Right.
without saying that, and you're just like, well, it's a dangerous sport, and you never know what can happen. And they wanted to elaborate, and that was the cool part of it. It's like they just didn't have these questions prepared. They wanted to know more,
Wow.
and then they asked, um, when we're getting, they asked, do we ever get interviewed by the media at the races? And they wanted to know what those interviews were like. What kind of questions did they ask you in the press conference? What kind of questions do you get when Dustin Coiners has you in his podcast. But yeah, so it was cool. They were trying to.
Did
They
you
were
just
actually
call
like,
me media? Ew.
wow, you're a
Don't
podcast
say
guy.
that.
But yeah, that was really cool, and I'm obviously super fortunate to be able to that Moto America can look at me to be an ambassador for things like this. It's really cool.
Yeah, dude, it really is. I was so proud of you when I saw it, and you're like, "Where'd you get that photo?" You were like interrogating me, like you were mad. So I found the same post on their Instagram, and you're like, "I'm not in this photo." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so I look on Instagram. Sure enough, they left your photo off the Instagram post for some reason.
Probably that's
So
probably
then I
a
go to
good idea.
Facebook, and you're still there. So I was like, "Okay, there it is."
Yeah, no, it was yeah, it was cool. It was definitely a cool experience to be able to talk to those kids, really intelligent kids, and they all got a bright future.
Right on, man. All right, so let's talk about how your race weekend went. Like I said on Friday, I was watching your times casually while I was on the bicycle,
Yeah.
and you did have a couple of seconds improvement between the first practice and the second one, and then I spent a lot of time on Saturday on the ride, so like I had to wait
Hmm.
till the end of the day to watch. So I didn't get to see everything, but I watched the race, and all I saw was you on the sidelines in race one, and I didn't see you at all in race two. So like, walk me through like what happened on the weekend, like what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Road Atlanta is a pretty technical track, um, but I really enjoy that place. I love that track. I have so much fun there. That track's a fun track, and I do hope that I can go there one day, just for like a track day, and just be able to ride it without having to try to be the fastest dude on the track. I just want to enjoy it. But yeah, I always look forward to this round every year. The baggers seem to work really well there. There's a couple really good corners down the back straight. 10A is just, I mean, you come around that kink down the straightaway and you're just to the stop, wide open, bikes wiggling around a little bit, and then it's just hard braking downhill into 10A and back the thing in a little bit. It's just I enjoy that. And then like the seven and or turn 6 and 7, the right, so fun, and I just enjoy that place. It's a fun track, It's
Yeah,
and and and, and really it comes down to there's tracks that the baggers work really good at, and there's tracks that the baggers are hard to ride at, and you struggle and you drag stuff, and Road Atlanta is one of the ones that the baggers work good at. So I have a lot of fun there. But yeah, we got there and went out in session one, and we just had like we missed the setup, like the base, so much with the gearing, and I was out there just in between gears every corner and shifting in weird places and upsetting the chassis and just I mean I don't think a lot of people understand is like we show up to a track and it's the second you're out there, lap one, it's go. There's
really.
no, yeah, we get one practice this year.
Yeah,
Last year,
you guys are the bastard stepchildren, sort of. Even though like arguably some of the most exciting racing, at least at Road Atlanta. You know,
yeah, I mean, we have
now
one
that you
practice
guys have
session.
stopped leaking oil, it's made it exciting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we get there. We got one practice. You got one session to figure it out,
Wow,
and
dude.
the next session after that is Q1,
Oh, so on
and
Friday when I watched you make that improvement, that was from one practice session. You dropped 2 seconds
yeah.
ish.
So we dropped. I don't know what I did I didn't even look at my times from free practice. We were just all over the place, gearing, shifting weird, revving the bike too much. Coming out of the corner, you're still like right out of the apex, grabbing a gear.
Oh wow.
Just we were just all over the place with gearing. So we sorted that out for Q1 and went back out there and I got into like the 38s, which just was not, it was nowhere near where I needed to be. The dudes were already, I think Kyle was already doing like 31s or 32s. And,
I thought I
you
saw
know,
36s.
well, come, um, and then that was on Friday. And then Saturday morning, we had Q2. Got
Okay.
into 36s in Q2. and you know we're in a good place in the race. You know, didn't have the best starting spot on the grid, but the guys in front of me was, you know, being able to ride with them was, I knew I would drop times.
Yeah.
You know, just constant. I feel like this weekend I spent a lot of time playing catch up.
Yeah.
I was always a session behind. Like I should have went into to free practice one a lot closer, and then you know Q1 closer. By the time I get to the race, we're in there, and I felt like I was just chasing it all weekend. But I mean, again, these guys are going fast. They're going really fast. It's not easy.
Yeah, dude, the
The
lap times are
the,
insane. Like
the
there's
pace is high. It's getting really gnarly. But
yeah.
um, you know, we're making our way, and we're still learning, and we're learning this bike still on the Harley Davidson. It's a good motorcycle, so I'm aiming that like mid season we're exactly on track where we need to be, and after that, no more excuses. But yeah, so we got into Q2. I got into 36s, you know, dropped some more time, and was looking forward to the race. And a simple misadjusted clutch kept us out. You know, I went out on the warm up lap, and it's funny because I rode I rode Q2 in the morning, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
We had to do a motor swap between Friday and Saturday, so um, we had I must have over revved the engine, and they had to put another engine in, but we put an old engine in, not a new one.
Okay.
It was the engine that Corey used at the Roebling test, uh, Daytona weekend, and then 2 days at Chuckwalla. So they put that engine in the bike, which is still on the leak down test and everything. It's still passed inspection. So it was a little tired after we put it in. I mean, I went after missing the race Saturday due to that clutch issue. Um, we rode. I got to so on I woke up on Saturday morning, and I was like, man, I'm really sore. You know, for two sessions yesterday, I'm feeling it. You know, it's kind of crazy. And by the time the race came on it was time to race on Saturday. I was like, I don't think I'm sore. I think I'm sick.
Oh.
And so I was like feeling under the weather, and I was like, okay, I just want to get racing. You know, the adrenaline will just push that all away. And then obviously we had the clutch issues, so I watched the race from the sidelines. But Sunday morning we had warm up, and I went out and did my fastest time of the weekend in warm up.
Yeah.
Got into the 35s, and you know we're on our way, and feeling good, and you know making headway. I feel really good. I did the fast lap of the weekend, and it didn't even feel like I was going that fast. And you know, I was still like really under the weather, but once I was on the bike and the adrenaline hit, we were, you know, it was kind of forgot about all that. My only issue was like I was getting tired pretty quickly. I just felt depleted and
Yeah.
had body aches, and you know, it was just like
So you're sick,
maybe had,
basically.
yeah, I was sick. I was sick. So, but just fluids and trying to get through it all, and then race two, we went out and flag dropped, and I did I did one lap, crossed the finish line once, and then on lap two, going down the back straight, some let go in the engine, and that was it. You know, it was that ended the weekend. So
That's a bummer.
it's a bummer, but it happens. I mean, these bikes, like I said, they're just built to the tilt, and you know we're hammering on them, and we're going fast, and um, you know we just got to you know learn to manage a little bit better, and we're learning as a team, and the whole Saddlemen race team has been incredible, and you know we got a good group of guys there, and you know like I said, we're learning how many hours we can put on these motors, we're learning how much time we can put on parts, we're learning, you
Yeah.
know, we're learning everything right now, and we're trying to learn as much as we can from the factory team and the Vance Nines team, and you know they're veterans at this point with these Harley Davidsons, and um, you know it's just one of those things that happens. So it's part of racing and part of growing, and you know we know what we need to do from here on out, And but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those weekends. You know, you have good weekends at the races, and you have
Yeah,
bad weekends,
yeah, we all
and
know, right? They
you
can't
know,
all be the best weekend, right?
yeah. And for me, it's like, you know, yeah, I didn't race, but we learned more about the bike, and we set it up better, and we moved forward with the setup, and got more comfortable on it, and from it. So
Is your team
not entirely bad.
does your team have any plans to test before the next round that the backers are racing?
We are testing. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but
Okay.
yes, we will be testing.
So the
I don't.
come the next round, you guys will come out swinging, hopefully, yeah?
I hope so. I hope so. We have three of us are going to one track, and one of us are going to another track. So we'll have settings for two different tracks
Okay.
that we will be racing this year.
Nice.
Um, um, so that'll be really good. So I think right now, like Jake, Corey, Patricia, and I can all agree that we need to go into the weekend a little bit more ready, into free practice one more ready, and not using free practice as, you know, finding the setup. We need to show up with the setup,
Yeah.
and I think our plans for the next, you know, between now and the next round, are really going to help with that. So,
Well, I
like I
mean, when
said,
you've only got one practice session and you burn the first practice session trying to figure out what gear to be in, like,
yeah, yeah,
while also learning the track and the tires and whatever and the bike overall,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, it's a lot. It's a
having
lot.
a,
Like I said, you
yeah,
know, Kyle and Travis and Tyler, Jeremy, Bobby, those guys go out there and they're doing their race pace lap three. So,
yeah,
you know, it's there's no time to play catch up. Absolutely none.
yeah. Yeah, it's not like a club race where you can do all of that uh, on Friday the whole day and then,
hmm
you know,
And then you got five classes to figure out what you're going to do the rest of the, you know, the rest of the
right,
weekend.
right.
So yeah, it's just you show up and go.
Stephen Ludwig says, "Damn, Frankie seems pretty wrecked. Somebody get him a cookie.
Yeah.
You're
uh,
still kind of sick, huh?
oh yeah, yeah. I got
Yeah,
home, so like my body aches went away, and I felt like I had a fever that went away, but I got like this cough now, and I did a COVID test last night. Did two different COVID tests last night, and they were both negative, so it's not COVID,
yeah.
thankfully.
Shocker. Like
I got regular
the
sick.
flu and stuff still exists, right?
Yeah, I got regular sick is what I like to call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Regular sick. There you go.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's yeah, that's a relief for sure because I was around the team obviously all weekend and my dad
yeah.
and so I'm glad no one's gonna get COVID because of me.
Right.
But you might get the flu.
Well, that sucks. You're not gonna get COVID sick, or you get regular sick.
Yeah, you're gonna get regular sick, but
But
it's not
that's
COVID, so
that
you can't get
happens
that.
anyway, you know. Okay, so another comment I got is from John McCown. This dude is from Colorado, MRA racer guy. He
hmm
says, "Will any of the lessons of racing in Moto America help the R&D of the bagger manufacturers?"
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's already helping that because Harley just announced their 135 cubic inch crate engine that they're going to be having here pretty soon. And they used development directly from the race team to build this. So before they had a 131 crate engine, and
Yeah,
I mean, I want to say maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, they announced this 130, or just before Daytona, they announced the 135 cubic inch crate engine,
yeah.
and that was all the technology from that came directly from the Screaming Eagle factory team. So yeah, 100%. You know, this bagger racing is absolutely helping the you know future of baggers as far as manufacturer goes.
I mean, is it too much to hope that Harley Davidson uses some of this and Indian too uses this kind of stuff to like maybe build a sport bike? Or am I
I
crazy?
mean, I I don't think it's crazy. I mean, I don't know the answer. I don't know what the manufacturer's futures look like or what's in their plans, but
That's
I
beyond the
mean,
scope of your contract.
yeah, it's beyond the scope of me. But I mean, working with manufacturers before, and you try to follow the trends and
Yeah.
stay ahead of it and be ready. And I mean, obviously, performance baggers right now is a massive category
Yeah.
within the motorcycle and V twin industry. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool to see. I mean, obviously, Harley has their line of Screaming Eagle parts, and
Yeah.
we even use like the Screaming Eagle Olin shocks on our race bikes. The same shocks that you go on the Harley website and buy for your road glide or street glide is the same shocks we race on. So, um, it's a lot of the same stuff. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool to see, a performance bagger come out of the manufacturers. That would be rad.
Oh, like a homologation, ready to race kind of
We may have
bagger.
seen that. We may have seen it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be
So
interesting.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, this whole V twin industry and watching it just evolve and evolve and evolve, and people are just making more and more parts. There's so many aftermarket parts for baggers and V twins. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think bagger racing came along at like the exact right time,
Right.
and it's
It's
really cool to see it and to be a part of.
I mean, you guys certainly are driving eyes to the sport overall. I mean, like I talked to you about it after Daytona, right? Like all those people that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for you guys, fan wise. Um, so I mean, you guys are definitely helping put eyes on the track for sure for Moto America too. So I mean, I hope it continues, man. Like the nuclear arms race shit gets out of hand though. It's like, man,
It
you
it
know,
is cool though.
I
It
mean,
is cool to
part of
see.
it, maybe if they knew that the bikes had to go maybe 15 laps, maybe they wouldn't be so gnarly of an engine build or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it's give and take. I think. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, the performance of these things is just it's really spectacular.
yeah,
And when you look at these bikes and you look at the development that's gone into them and the parts made for them, and it's it is so cool. I mean, I've been racing baggers. This is my fourth season, and
yeah,
I will sit and stare at these motorcycles like I've never seen them before, and
yeah.
I race one of them, and it's just they're incredible. They're
I
cool, and
noticed something about almost all the Harleys. Um, they all have the same wheels that I have on my R1.
yeah, yeah. And you have a really nice built super bike,
Yeah,
with that's come straight out of the attack performance shop, and
right.
that just goes to show it's like
The
we're not
same
messing around
wheels,
anymore.
like the dude at Core Moto, like we went back and forth. I was like, should I go gold? What do you think? And then I went with
Just a raw.
the clear, glossy, clear anodized ones, so they look
Hmm.
chrome, because I'm like kind
Yep.
of a shitbag like that. And all of you guys are running the same wheels, man. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
The factory team runs those wheels, and
Yeah,
when we were deciding, the Saddlemen team, Dave, and when he was deciding what wheels we are going to run, he didn't want to mess around. He's not playing. He wanted to run
yeah,
what the factory teams are running, and that's what we went with. And so that's
yeah.
where that came from.
Yeah, Ludwig is reminding me to tell you that although the bike has a lot of attack stuff, like Richard maybe do most of it myself, kind of thing. So there's that.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
kind of
blame him.
true. That was
I don't
actually
blame
the
him.
last bike. We threw that bike away, Steven, just a heads up, in the trash last summer. But
Yeah,
we got a new
got to
bike
get it back.
now, like again. So yeah, okay. So what's your goal for the next round, dude?
My goal for the next round is I mean, my goal for the season is to close the gap on myself and the factory boys, and even my teammates. Corey and Jake are going really fast, and my goal is to be up with those dudes and battling with them and in where I belong. My bike is absolutely 100% capable. And it's just me. I maybe got to pull my head out of my ass a little bit and get myself a little bit more comfortable and stay working in the gym, and I work on myself a little bit more and kind of work on myself mentally, and understand that this is a man sport, and I gotta run with the big boys, and
It's a
so
man's sport, except
yeah,
one of your teammates is a chick. Just saying.
yeah,
Just throwing it out there, bro.
yeah,
You said it.
she's a badass woman. She is
Yeah.
a badass woman, and she she will tell you herself that she has bigger cojones than most of us, and she definitely does. She
Wow.
runs the show. Patricia runs the show.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, she's a badass. But yeah, it's closing that gap and learning more, and getting in there. My ideal goal would be to go to Road America and close the gap a little bit more, and then the round after, that's where I want to hit. Like, that's where I want to be ready to start the second half of the season, and really put it to them, and really show that I have this ride because I'm deserving of it, and and then have a good rest of the season.
Yeah.
We go to Laguna, and then after Laguna we go to Brainerd, and Jersey, Coda, Brainerd, Coda, Jersey. I'm missing one. Where else do we go?
I forget, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like Brainerd, and,
I don't think you guys are going to the Ridge.
Ridges, Super Hooligans only.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like Brainerd, I went there for the first time last year. I enjoyed that place a lot. I
It's
really
a
like
little
that track.
weird though, right? Like the walls and shit are weird. And that like chicane
Yeah,
thing, like
I
after
don't.
the carousel, that thing's
It,
kind of
it's a tight track, and it just takes me back to like my supermoto days, and I feel like I haven't like I do better on tracks like that. A little sketchy, a little tight, a little different, and
it's
it's just
like
like it's a
I
proper.
thrive on when the track's the most dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. um, so yeah, and then New
Nice.
Jersey is I like that track too. It's another weird, patchy surface. Um, Throw the bike around track. It's really tight in places, and
Yeah.
I look forward to that one as well. And then we go to Coda, which is a track that we've never been to on baggers, and it's I look forward to the second half of the season. Not that I'm not looking forward to this first half and the rest of it, but the second half I really want to make a mark, and really put in the work, and show the boys what we got.
Right on. So, did you happen to catch any of the other races over the
Oh,
weekend?
I caught them all. I caught
Did
it.
you?
Atlanta is the second round one of the Moto America.
Oh my
You know,
God. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but dude, all the classes had some like it had some shit going down, right?
there was a lot of good racing this weekend, and I think Atlanta, the track, it provides for that. Every year. But man, the racing was so good. It was so good. Superbike race one. I was talking to Cam Gish
Yeah.
before, and obviously he's really close with Cam Bovier.
Yes, he is.
And I grew up
He's
racing with Cam.
honestly, I think he's pretty close to Jake too, man.
Jake.
Gagne.
Yeah, because Jake was
I
a
mean,
tail
he
guy
was
for a long
hanging out
time.
with us in our pit at World Superbike, so
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Jake was.
Gishy's friends with everybody, man.
Yeah,
Like,
Gish is a good dude. But yeah, he spent the last couple seasons with the American racing team over in the MotoGP paddock, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, "What do you think, man? Like, how's Cam feeling? You think he's gonna put it to the guys this year?" And you don't know. It's year one. Cam's on a new team on a
yeah,
bike that's never won a superbike race
yeah,
here, and there's a lot of what ifs, and if there's a guy that's going to do it, it's going to be Cam. But I mean,
of
before the
course.
race, nobody knew, and Cam qualified third, and
I mean, you
me and
see
Gish.
it. Like, I got the unique viewpoint of being at all the tests, and
Yes,
I knew he'd be right there. I mean, Richard and I have talked about it. Like, we knew he was going to be a threat for sure. We knew he'd be right there because his times, were right there. It's it was pretty impressive though. Still, I mean, knowing how fast that dude is, like anyone that counted that guy out is an idiot. Like, how do
yeah.
you count out the former 5-time champ,
I
6-time
don't
champ?
think anybody. Yeah, exactly. I don't think anybody is counting him out. I just didn't think anybody thought he was going to get the job done that soon. I know that
Dude, he didn't even know he would get the job done that
yeah.
soon, right?
I did hear some things that BMW doesn't, they don't quite have their electronics dialed in completely, and
Yeah,
it's stuff like that. They're not fully there where they're going to be later in the year.
right,
And Cam qualified third, and Jake was on it like everyone expected him to be,
right.
and it's that first race came up, and there was like a lot of what's going to
Dude,
happen
like,
here,
holy
and
shit, I can't believe this is happening right now. Yeah,
yeah, and Jake started a built a little bit of gap at the beginning of the race, race one, and dude, Cam pushed hard. He was,
yeah.
I mean, he had some
Well, I mean,
quick laps.
being real, like looking at the lap times, Jake slowed down. Like for whatever reason, he was having
I
some
mean,
troubles with something
it's
physically.
a
I don't
it's a
know.
little bit of a pace game. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you ran full tilt boogie the entire race, I mean, at the end, I don't care who you are, you're
Well,
going to be hurting.
if you look at the times from last year, everybody both races kind of went slower than last year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, even Schulte was slower than last year. I mean, I don't understand what there was a track not giving up the times like it was last year. I don't know, or
Well,
are
no,
the tire, or maybe it's
we
the
went faster.
tires, right?
Baggers went like 2 seconds faster
Yeah.
than last year. So yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
know what it was about this.
are you guys running that new tire or?
Yeah, yep, we're on the Dunlop. It's the Superbike tires. So before we were on 120/70 fronts and 260 rears, and now we're on the same tire as those guys. It's a 170 or a 120/75 front and a
Okay.
265 rear. So a little bit bigger of a tire, which I think is good. Um, whatever's I don't know the exact differences. I don't know if it's like a formula difference
Yeah.
or compound. I mean, it's the same compound numbers, but I
Yeah.
don't know what the difference is. But it seems like the heat cycle between tires now is a
Yeah.
lot better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever. Like the heat cycles now, like before, if you had a set of tires with a heat cycle in them,
Yeah.
they were pretty much, you could immediately notice the difference. But now with this new tire, you don't really notice it at all. I mean, I had a heat cycle. I used the same tires in morning warm up on Sunday that were on the bike for the race on Saturday. So I mean, they had 3 or 4 laps on them with a heat cycle, and I went the fastest I ever went on Sunday morning on the heat cycle set of tires. So
Wow.
yeah, no, the tires are good. So I don't think it was the tires. I don't know if there
Yeah.
was any difference
I
from.
mean, I think I think the pace for the superbike guys, the front guys, tires may have been an issue, right? Because if you look at multiple dudes going slower than they went last year, it might be maybe it's a setup thing. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I think Jake had some kind of arm pump thing or something. I mean, the broadcast was talking about it, but like, I mean, it must be real because the dude is having surgery. Like Dr. Brian, he called Dr. Brian after the race and was like, dude,
I was on the same flight as Jake on the way home, and
yeah,
I saw him in the bathroom at the airport, and I was like, we get into these weekends, and we don't, we're all in our own zone, so we don't
right.
get to really see each other, spend time together, and I asked him like, how was it, from his point of view, and he was pretty much all smiles, and he was like, man, I had a good time, and there were some good battles, and
Yeah,
he's like,
dude.
it's gonna be a season, so
It's gonna be a
it was good to.
spicy season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it was good to see him like in that sort of mindset, like
Yeah,
not bummed that he lost race one, and he was in good spirits, and he just, obviously when you got a guy like Cam Beaubier who was your teammate for so long, and
yeah,
you respect the guy, and you all trust each other. It's you get to race like that and have clean, insane battles, like yeah, you're gonna have a good time.
yeah.
So yeah, stoked for those dudes, and yeah, that race one was, we were
How
watching
about
Jake,
this?
Jake and I.
How about this stat though? Like, I think that was the first time Jake left Road Atlanta or round one with points
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
since
one
like
too.
2020, right? Like
Yeah, last year,
the
remember
first
what
race.
happened? What happened last year when he had to lean his bike against the wall, like after the warm up lap or something like that? Like it
Yeah, the
was
last
like a
couple
fuel
years,
pump or
right?
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they got
Yeah, he
bad
always.
fuel, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was, and so yeah, it was cool to see him get out of there, finishing
Yeah.
both races, and with a first and a two, and
Yeah.
it's cool. to see Cam in there. Cam battle for the lead on that BMW
Dude,
both
even
races.
Heron looked like who the fuck is this guy? Like I haven't seen this guy since
So
2018.
I will say this: Josh has been putting in a lot of work off the motorcycle. If
Yeah,
you look at his Strava, it is out of control. The dude's just pedaling, and he's lost a ton of weight.
yeah,
He's probably the fittest he's ever been right now, and he knows he has a good motorcycle. He knows he has a good team. Like he has no excuse, and he knows that, and he wouldn't put in the work, and he's
right.
right there. Same with
Yeah.
Campy. Same with Skoltz. I do expect to see PJ in there this
PJ will
year
be
too.
right there.
Uh-huh.
I
So
mean,
I think,
I really don't expect to see much of the Suzuki team. They look like business as usual in the superbike effort. Um,
yeah, I mean, I know Tony was frustrated with how the weekend went. He got a couple sevens, and that's not where Tony wants to be.
no,
Tony doesn't. Tony wants to be up front. Tony knows that's where he belongs.
yeah,
We didn't see him for a couple seasons, but um, I think if they can figure some things out, they might be in there. Hopefully, we'll be in there. We'll find out. I mean, who knows? It, it's 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 going to be an interesting year in the superbike class. I don't think we've seen this much talent all grouped together like this in a long time.
no,
Because
man, no,
it was like Josh Hayes, and then it was Cameron, and
dude. Before
um,
that, though, you gotta
then it
check
was
your history
Jake.
books, buddy. It was like
Well,
Ben
yeah,
Spies, and then it was Mladen before that,
Mladen,
and
then
then before
Speed,
that, it
yeah,
was like Miguel, right?
uh-huh, hmm
And now it's spicy and it's. I mean, did you read the Titler's press release before round one or before?
no,
Dude, the Titlers announced their team, right? And it has some quotes from the riders, Cam, PJ, and Corey Alexander. But then the owner, Michael Kiley, he posted some in the press release. He was talking about how much respect and how he's gained friendships in the paddock and how much respect he has for the attack team and how he would like to relieve them of the pressure of continuing the number one plate. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like that kind of shit is so spicy and
that's
it's like
cool.
good for the sport, I think, man. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
Like
I completely agree. I mean, we need that. We need that. We need a little bit of
I'm gonna try to get
animosity.
Michael Kiley on and do like a different version of Superbike Genius. What do you think?
You should. You should.
Right?
That'd be cool. Or maybe tell Richard and him that they're going to be on, but don't tell them they're going to do it together and then
Oh
posting
no,
it out.
I don't know if I could get away with that, but at the same time, maybe, dude. They
Maybe
would probably be okay with being on together. I mean, they're maybe do another Superbike roundtable or something. But
that'd be cool.
if you've never met Michael Kiley, the dude is such a good dude. Like he's just
I don't
down to
know.
earth, super smart guy, like super into our sport. I think it's great to have that guy sponsoring a team in the paddock, and look what they've done. Look how impressive their team is already, and they've
Hmm.
barely, this is their second season, right? So
Yeah, no, they're doing great. They're doing great. Obviously, I mean
yeah,
they got a win, and that's awesome. Good
or
for them.
third season,
So
I don't know,
I
second
think it's the
season, third
third
season,
season. I
is it
think they had a
third?
stock thousand season, and then
Oh yeah,
a
that's right, that's
superbike
right.
season, and
Yeah,
yeah. So no, it's good, man. It's good to get more manufacturers back in it,
yeah.
and see this grow, and that's the
Hey, so
ultimate
check
goal.
this out. Brian Green wants to know what was the paddock like when Cameron won race one? Like, was all the racers like, I knew it, or were they like, oh my god, it's gonna be an epic year? Like, how
So
was?
I was watching the race in the truck. Obviously, the baggers were the race right after, and nobody knew. Like we were all talking about it. Obviously, that's the buzz around the pits. Is what's going to happen? How's Cam going to do on the BMW? And like
Yeah,
I was saying earlier with Cam Gish, he goes, Cam will be in there. Cam will win some races this year.
yeah,
And I don't think anybody expected it that soon. And we were watching the race, and Cam was pushing hard to close that gap. And Jake Lewis and I were getting ready in the truck for the bagger race, and we had the race on the phone, and we're watching it, and we were just like, he's getting closer, he's getting closer.
yeah,
Oh, he's there. And then when he got in there, the power of that BMW down the back straightaway just, I mean, really, really seemed
dude.
to make all the difference. And then Cam's braking into turn 10 was insane. So, yeah, when he came across the line, we were kind of, I don't want to say in shock because we know Cameron's capabilities,
Yeah,
but at the same time, we were just like, we knew he'd win, but we didn't know it was going to come on day one.
right.
So that was
Well, he
pretty
didn't either,
exciting.
right? Like he's just like he'll take it, but he didn't
Hmm.
expect it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
And he
think.
even said it, even in race 2, he said it. He just used the bike where it was advantageous. The
Hmm.
BMW. I mean, being real, I'm biased as shit, right? My logo's on the side of the Superbike team, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
But our bike's effectively 8 years old, right? Like our bike,
Uh huh.
the design of it came out in 2015. So like we're racing a 2015 against 2023s, basically, right? Well, obviously with some differences, pretty major
Yeah.
differences,
Totally.
but you get what
Totally.
I mean, right? So it's like, dude, our bike don't have no wings on it.
Yeah. Yeah. This kind of doesn't have wings on it.
We
Start
don't have
there.
no wings on it, and
Yeah.
the Yamaha, the cross-plane engine's never been the engine to win dyno shootouts, right? So
True. True.
I mean, so it's like,
But
man,
Richard
watch.
Richard works his magic on
Oh,
those things and
absolutely. I mean, the thing's
changes the
still a
world.
missile, but it's like, you watch and you could see the BMW and the Ducati could just like go right by on the straight, and it's like, God damn, dude. So,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, I think I think all those bikes like have their goods and bads to them. I think
Yeah.
obviously when it comes to an all around package, I think the attack bikes probably have like the best all around package because there's just so much data and you know past years of you know setup and all that stuff. There's so
Yeah.
much information
Yeah.
that they have that, but it's good to see Cam and
Yeah.
Josh in there. It's going to be a really good Superbike season. Like
Yeah.
I said, we haven't seen this much talent in
No.
the same pool in a long time.
I
So
mean,
it'll
race
be an
two,
interesting
race
year.
two is probably the best superbike race Moto America's had ever. I mean, ever,
Yeah, it was
right?
wild. It was wild. Did you see Josh's his video that he put out this morning? I think that was
Somebody
today.
somebody sent me that video last night, actually,
Uh huh.
the explanation of what he saw, and
Hmm.
I watched it. Like I mean, like Josh, I'm admittedly not a Josh fan, but I will say this, dude. The dude looks like he's finally figured himself out, and it like the rider Josh looked like the rider from 2018. Like he looked like that guy that was like ready to get some.
Yeah,
And I mean, those
and mentally he's
yeah,
there as
and
well.
those dudes, like there was a lot of chatter about that. I stayed away from all of that, but I'll just put it down like this, dude. Like it looked like some motherfuckers are going at it on the limit.
Dude,
When those guys are on the
I
limit
didn't want
like
to be in
that,
that race.
it was super spicy like that. You know, um, things got a little sideways for Josh there towards the end of at the end of that
Yeah,
race, basically.
that last
And
lap
and
was
you know what?
wild.
Everybody, including Schulte, everybody in that pack is lucky that they finished the race, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, clearly everything goes the way it goes, right? But I mean, when
Hmm.
when you get spicy like that, I mean, shit happens. It's
Yeah, when you're full tilt boogie at
Incidental
a
contact,
at
no harm, no
180.
foul.
Yep.
Nobody
Nobody got
crashed.
hurt.
No harm, no foul. Let's go to go to the next round and see what's what.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Oh,
shitting
it
on
was
the
good.
dude, like, and like I've been part of the shitting on Heron thing for a lot of reasons, but this isn't one of them, and I don't think he deserved that. But
No, I mean people just. I think a lot of people are. We have this thing called social media and the internet these days that people just like to get all
well,
crazy on, and
yeah, like everybody's
you know
the what is it? The couch potato. I
the
don't know.
keyboard warriors.
I, Richard and I had a term for it last year. It was like the couch potato commandos or something like that.
Uh,
And it was like, whoa,
yeah.
dude, okay.
But good on Josh though for it's getting on and explaining himself, and
Yeah, the fact that
I thought that was really cool.
he's
Like
one of those
regardless of
dudes
anything,
that like
he's
he's
so
been
good
this
on
way
social
for the
media.
longest time. Like he's been that way where he's like the guy that's got to go and like do the internet war. And I'm like, bro, It's the internet, dude. Like, don't read the comments. That's the worst thing ever. Stop reading the
Yeah,
comments,
yeah. Don't
right?
look at
But
those. Don't look at those.
yeah,
But no, that was cool. I mean, regardless if that video was a clean last lap from everybody, him just going through it and explaining everything from his point of view, like I thought
yeah,
that was really cool. I mean, I enjoyed watching that. Of course, I talked to Josh and knew everything already, but watching that is it's just having that information and
yeah,
for the fans to get a riders insider's perspective on what was going through their head at that exact
yeah.
moment I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I got a TTX Tech comment. He says Heron's been extremely motivated by his harshest critic. It reminds me of that quote about awakening a sleeping giant.
I don't know
Wow,
what that
okay.
means, but that's
Yeah, that's,
deep.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I mean,
dude,
he's been
for the
awakened.
7 people watching this or whatever, yeah, that is pretty deep for this
Yeah, it's
group.
really deep. But yeah, no,
Um,
it is. I mean, it's true. It's Josh is, like I said, he knew what bike he was getting on this year. He knew what he had to do. He knew the talent that was going to be in Moto America with Cameron coming back and the Attack Boys, and
yeah,
he had no excuse. I mean, we had Petrucci and Baz come in and were runner up in the championship the last 2 years, and
yeah.
I mean, those guys were new. They had to learn these tracks, and they were runner up. Josh knows these tracks,
Well, they
so
had to
there was
not
no
only learn
excuse.
the tracks, they had to learn the characteristics of the tire that doesn't
Hmm.
behave like their home tires do, right?
Yep, there's a lot of them to learn,
Whereas
and they were
Josh
in
is
there.
like, Josh has been drinking the Dunlop Kool-Aid since birth, basically, right? So
Yeah,
he's got
yeah.
that shit
So
dialed, and then obviously the Ducati is a great bike. I mean, there's a dude winning everything in World Superbike on one,
uh huh,
same
uh huh.
bike, basically, right? So
Yeah, Josh knew the task, and he's
yeah, and he
doing
was
the right
right
thing.
there at the end, man.
Yeah, I
He was
mean,
right there at the
Josh
end.
Josh will win races this year.
Dude, you know what? I thought at the beginning of the season that he would be a threat to win some races, and Road Atlanta is
Hmm.
one of them. That's like his
Yeah, it's just,
backyard, right?
yeah.
Coda probably he'll be a threat. Road
The Ducati
America he'll
works.
be a threat. Basically everywhere that it's fast as fuck on the straights,
Yeah.
right? Um, but we'll have to see, and we'll have to see what Richard does. I know I talked to him yesterday morning when he got back or whatever, and he was already putting his lab coat on, dude. Like it's
Oh,
over.
yeah, yeah. He's back in the laboratory.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah, Richard.
absolutely.
That's
But
that's Richard.
so some of the other stuff I saw, obviously, we saw some fire. That was a
We
little different.
saw BMW burn to the ground. We
Yes.
saw we almost saw Cam Peterson burn to the ground.
I mean, dude,
Uh,
the thing, I mean, I've never seen that happen to an R1 engine where it just exploded while the dude was riding it. Like, what
it's
the
it's what
hell?
it's what happens when you
I,
start
I've got
building high performance things.
I've got Richard on tomorrow, and I'm sure he's going to share some stuff that they discovered with the thing. But I mean, I guess it let go like in a big way. I don't
Yeah,
know
it looks like it
why.
let go somewhere up top.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there was chunks of
Well, I talked to
pistons
Cam
and stuff.
and I talked to Cam and he said things came out and hit him in the leg
Yeah,
hard.
dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's as to what came out of that engine, I don't know, but
I,
it's
I,
still
I
it's
was
wild. We've
it
never seen
vented the
that.
cases. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah,
Vented the
yeah.
cases in a
But
different kind of way, right?
yeah, just glad
So
that
I'll
everyone
be
got
on
out of
with
this
Richard talk
situation.
about that, and the other classes too, man. Like I posted this. My KYT dude sent this to me because Flores is his writer, right?
Uh huh.
So is Stefano.
Yep.
The KYT Mafia, right?
Yep. Yep.
And dude, Flores on the brakes, making everybody look like amateurs,
I
right?
mean, let's
Dude.
just take a step back and look at Flores' resume. I mean, that
Well,
guy,
I mean,
every
Josh
bit of that
Hayes
riding.
has a pretty impressive resume, and Josh is typically a demon on the brakes, and that dude just was like, later.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, everything you expect out of him. Everything you expect out of him. I got a little bit of a. Uh, I don't fully agree with the super sport class. The super sport class to me was always the feeder class. It was always the
Was
kids
it?
class, and yeah, I mean, if you
It
think
was
about it,
not. it was. I'm just gonna correct you because I gotta go. I've been doing this. I've been in the
You've been doing
game.
this a long time.
Yeah. So I mean, back in the day, Supersport was like everybody on the factory team on the Superbike also was on a Supersport bike. So like,
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
Miguel Duhamel had one, Yatesy had one, right?
Hmm.
Back in the day, all those dudes, except somehow Mladen got away with not doing Supersport.
Only
But
Superbike.
Doug Chandler, I mean, even Nicky had a Superbike and a Supersport, right?
Yep.
So,
I'm
I
just
mean,
talking like modern day,
yeah, I mean,
the last 10 years.
well, because they changed Supersport when there was like DSB, right?
Uh huh.
So Supersport was kind of like the kiddie or the feeder
The feeder
class or
class.
feeder
Yeah,
class.
that's where the kids
And
learn. Yeah, that's where
DSB
they
and
go.
then Formula Extreme or whatever they called it.
Uh
And
huh.
now there's none of those, right? Now it's just
Yeah. This is
super
the
sport.
600 class,
So
600
it,
Super Sport class,
but it's not
or now
600. It's
no, it's
just
750s. It's Super
and
Sport. What do they call it
thousands
now?
super sport next gen.
Next gen. Yeah, yeah. But
So
I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't know. I always saw that class as, that's where,
that's what the Twins
you
Cup
know,
class is,
that's where
buddy.
the Tyler Scott, like Tyler Scott is like, the kids, these teenagers,
Yeah,
that's where they belong. I don't know. But don't get me wrong. I mean, Josh Hayes, he's been doing this a long time, and Flores, he's been doing this a long time. I think that dude's like 37 years old.
yeah. Well, Josh,
Stefano's not young.
dude,
You know,
Stefano's older than you, right? I
I don't
think,
know. Is he in
or
his
maybe he's
30s?
right around you.
Yeah,
I think he
you
is
know,
right around you. Uh,
yeah. So I mean,
30 ish.
those guys are all road racing is cool because it's like the older you get, you just keep getting faster. You don't slow down. And but yeah, I guess in a sense you're right. That's what the Twins Cup is the feeder class and the
Yeah,
600 class. And but yeah, I kind of miss seeing, like, 16-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids battling out on 600s, and seeing a
yeah,
whole gang of them. But no, it's still, I mean, it's cool to see those guys still,
yeah.
and being able to see Josh Hayes. Josh Hayes is like one of my heroes. When I was growing up, and being able to still see him battle for wins is
Dude, the
pretty
guy is,
cool.
he just has no quit in him, right? Like the dude
No,
just, like he just wants to win. And you listen to him talk in the post race interviews, and the dude is so humble and just like, well, I'm just lucky to
uh,
be here. Kind of
yeah,
golly
that's
gee
just Josh
shucks.
for you, though.
I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's Josh for you. He's just, he's an encyclopedia of road racing knowledge,
oh,
and
dude, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
it's cool to see him out there just getting after it still. And like, he cruises the pits, and he's just like, it's all good. He's having a good time, and
Yeah,
he's not, nothing could bother him. And then he just puts the leathers on and puts it to everybody. And I'm just
yeah,
like,
dude.
damn, dude, I hope that I'm that cool
Well,
when I'm
Flores
your
on
age.
the brakes, though, dude. Like, how does
Wild,
it's
wild.
amazing to see that. And Stefano, Stefano's got that Tytler support now, and man, he's just insane on that Cowie thing that he's riding.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know what team he's riding for. If that's like a,
Tytler's
okay.
he's riding
He's not
for the
out of the
same.
truck? Is he out of the
Dude,
truck
he's
with
got
him
Tytler's
too?
support, man. Like Michael
Huh.
Kiley's helping him too, man. You
Oh,
know.
that's good for him. Good for him.
Because I know
Yeah.
Tytler's is doing the hooligans thing with the Energica
Uh
electric
huh.
bike,
With
right?
Stefano.
And
Yeah, with
Stefano's riding
Stefano.
that, and so
Yeah.
they just kind of brought him. I don't. He's not in the truck then. He's not part of that, or he.
I don't know. I didn't spend too much time like wandering, and the only time I walked by that truck was when I got into the pits every morning, and I had to walk by
Yeah,
it, but I didn't pay too much attention.
yeah.
But
So how about the
no.
Twins Cup class stuff, right? I mean,
First of all, let's just get it out of the way. Not have a super sport ride.
yeah.
That's the most mind blowing thing ever. Like, he almost won a
Well, it just
championship
shows
last
there's
year.
maybe just not very many rides available.
Yeah,
I mean,
that kid is
Rocco's
so
been kind of
talented.
Rocco and his family have been kind of doing their own program for years, and you know, I mean, I haven't talked to them lately, but they've been struggling with money on the team on their program for years,
Well,
and
yeah, I mean, this is not
every
a
year it's
cheap
like,
thing
yeah,
to
yeah,
do.
yeah, I'm poor, and then Road Atlanta or whatever, they show up and they're ready to rock and roll, right? But and I thought this year would be the same, but man, when when it was announced that he was going to ride that Robum bike or whatever in replacement for
The
Glotty.
rodeo racing.
Yeah, rodeo racing, Robum, right?
Yeah.
Robum's involved in that somehow. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know the inner workings of that whole thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I can't keep up with everything.
yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
try
Like,
my
look,
best.
like if you want that info, Greg White probably knows. Um,
Yeah.
but Gregopedia, right?
Yeah.
But it was pretty shocking to see Rocco riding some other dude's bike, like as a sub.
Yeah. Did you
And
see
then
how
he comes
fast he
out,
went?
dude, he was insane. Like he just destroyed the lap record, right? And then
Hmm.
obviously he had that race one failure, but race two, he checked out and was like, later, bitches, right? I mean, he was
Yep.
gonzo. And the other guys he's racing with ain't slow.
No, none of those guys are slow. I mean,
Yeah.
it's again like I mean, Rocco, man, he's a good rider. It blows my mind that he doesn't have a super sport ride this year, but I mean, he's making the best of it, and he's still out there showing what he's capable of, and
Yeah.
hopefully something will come along for him.
Yeah, and just going back to the Supersport thing, TTX Tech says that Stefano's bike is a Graves Kawasaki. So
Ah, okay.
maybe that's why it had seemingly a little extra poop in it down the straights. I,
Who knows? Who
yeah,
knows?
and then Stock Thousand looked pretty healthy too, man.
Dude,
Ezra, are
I
you not like? How are
I
you not like? How could you not be
dude,
proud of Ezra?
I
Right?
grew up with the Bobier family. We grew
Yeah,
up going to the same supermoto races in NorCal. Um, we all know Jeff and Tanya, and I've
yeah.
raised just two incredible boys, and in Ezra and Cam, and man, I was like, when Ezra won, it was a big deal, and then when
Yeah,
Cam won the same day, I almost shed a tear. Obviously,
yeah.
that brother thing is a big deal for me, and I mean it was
I,
being
I
able to see
was I
that
was
and see.
texting Ezra from the bicycle too, man. I was like, bro, you're on pole, dude. Like, if you win this thing, I'm totally buying you dinner next time I see you.
Uh-huh. And he did the
Yeah.
double.
And
He
then I was
did the
like,
double.
wow, I'm so proud of that kid. Like he's, I've known him most of his life, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I've known that kid most of his life, and to see him win a double, his first national wins, period, and he wins two in a row. It's like,
And then
goddamn,
and then
boy,
and he beat Jeff May for that.
dude,
Jeff Mays
at his
has
home track.
and hats off to Jeff May. I mean, what an awesome career he had,
Yeah,
and being able to retire on the podium that's really cool.
yeah,
But yeah, it beat Jeff May at his home track.
yeah.
Um, man, I mean, what a dream weekend
And it's not
for
like Ezra's
Ezra.
testing at Road Atlanta. It's not like he's got a bunch of data there from last year because the
No,
team's brand new,
He showed
right?
up and just did work.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that
I talked to Ezra a little bit. Apparently, dude, he's like moving to be local to the Orange Cat dudes.
oh
Um,
wow, where are they
yeah,
located
like
out of?
like Chicago area,
Oh wow,
Illinois somewhere. Yeah.
huh?
And I guess he's moving out there, and I guess he and Caleb are going to be like buddy training partner. So
Roommates,
what?
buddy, training partners. That's good, man. Sometimes
Yeah,
you know, stay close
yeah.
to the team. That's good,
Yeah,
man. That's cool.
what's I
Obviously
mean,
they're doing it right.
I got to talk to the owner of the Orange Cat team at the last test. It was first time I ever met the dude. He's like a really smart, like fan of the sport, basically. That's
Uh-huh.
cashed out of some whatever he's done, and he's doing this now because he's like a big fan of it.
That's cool.
Really interesting character though, man. And what's funny about him is that like I had a student in the Yamaha school like a couple days prior to that test, and that dude was the owner of Orange Cat's like best friend, and was
Oh
like,
wow,
hey,
okay.
tell him I said what's up. And I'm like, okay, cool. So like we had a little chat about that, and it was really interesting character. And I mean the drive the dude has for our sport is, we need more dudes like that,
We need more. We need more. Well, I mean, I think we got him, and guys like Dave Eckert, owner of Saddlemen, and you know,
Yeah.
they're coming in. You know, they're
Yeah.
bringing it, and people are seeing, you know, Moto America grow, and they're seeing the value of it,
Yeah.
and you know, we're on it's slow, but we're on a comeback. You know,
Yeah.
Superbike, you know, North American Superbike Series is making a comeback. So it's good to see new teams and new faces,
Yeah.
new riders, new bikes, and you know, they're doing something right over there.
All right. Well, Frankie, what are you riding this weekend?
What am I riding this weekend? Well, I got my new Road Glide, so I'm gonna cruise that thing around.
All right.
Uh, I think you know, first and foremost, I'm just trying to feel better.
Yeah.
Don't want to overdo it, and I hate being sick. So
I was gonna
um,
remind you to call Doug and say, dude, let's go for a pedal.
yeah, yeah. No, I need to. I do need to go ride my bicycle. That's for sure. So like I said, I'm just waiting to get a little bit, you know, feel a little bit better here. I'm just coughing and you know, got all a bunch of nasty stuff and feeling, you know,
Yeah.
terrible. But we're getting better, and you know, I think feeling better and get back on the bicycle and get back. I've landed yesterday and went straight to the gym to go sit in the sauna to try to sweat the sickness out. But you know, obviously we still got a little bit in there.
Yeah.
But
Way to go, Frankie. Go and
yeah.
risk other rando people in public.
Oh
Way to
no,
go, buddy.
yeah, thanks. Anyways, I'm that guy.
Well,
I'm
Frankie, you
that
know
guy.
what, man? This has been a fun chat, dude. I'm looking forward to hearing about what the rest of your season's like, and you know, this whole like download with Frankie or whatever, bagger shit with Frankie after the races. I'm stoked that you're down to talk to me about that kind of stuff, and
Yeah, no,
you
it's
know,
cool. It's good to talk about it, and obviously
yeah,
going to the races, having a little insight on everything else around
yeah,
me and the other classes and what's going on, and
yeah.
it's cool. It's cool to chat about it.
Right on, man. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing, and you know, I wish you the best of luck. You know, if
Thank you.
everybody, if people are liking this show, you know, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff, comment, and all that, YouTube stuff, whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Whatever that stuff is,
yeah, yeah, all that,
do it all.
and then seriously, man, like, check out the baggers if you're not watching them. I mean, you know, use your Live Plus. You can watch them. Those two races were insane. You know, the stuff that you'll see Tyler O'Hara doing. I mean, you're not going to get to see a whole lot of Kyle because he's gone. You know, props to Kyle, but dude was gone. And but O'Hara was coming, man. And you know, maybe they need to push the races out 15 laps and then see what happens. I don't know.
I don't want that.
Send a strongly worded letter to Moto
Eight laps is
America,
plenty.
right?
8 laps is plenty.
Right on. Okay, and the next one, the next show we talk about, we're definitely going to talk about the personalized plate on your race bike. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Got that on there. So
All right,
I
Frankie.
won't say that one.
Well, good times, man.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Thanks for having me on, and we'll do this after Road America.